Hey, this is Pastor Bunjee Garrett, and I want to take this opportunity to present you with another word of encouragement. Well, just in case you haven't heard already, the Federal Reserve just launched the Fednow program, which has been described as a payment gateway, sort of like PayPal or Venmo. In other words, the Fednow program is an instant payment system which allows users to make instant transfers between accounts without having to move the money from various wallets. And you might be interested to know that at least 35 banks have already adopted this program, including JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo. Now, while this might sound like a convenient way to pay the bills or carry out business transactions, it's also important to understand that this pilot program, well, it could also be the first step towards a cashless society, which will be centered around a central bank digital currency, or a CBDC, which will then be completely controlled by the government. That's right. And just to be clear, for now, this FedNow program is simply a voluntary payment gateway here that enables users to transfer money digitally. And, if we lived in a perfect society, then the government would simply use this system to make our lives better. Unfortunately for us, we don't live in a perfect society, and according to the scriptures, the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. And as we consider the prophetic vision that the Lord presented to the Apostle John, well, we know that there's coming a day when every person is going to be required to receive the mark of the beast in order to engage in a global economy. Here's how John put it in Revelation chapter 13. There he informs us about the days when a false prophet will rise up and then cause all, both small and great, both rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. In other words, there's coming a day when the global economy will be controlled by the Antichrist. And with that being the case, we should take a moment to ask, well, what are the necessary steps for transforming our current economic system into one in which the ability to do business is completely controlled with a mark which is going to be received in the right hand or in the forehead? Well, considering the current technology available to us, governments would need to get rid of, our tangible currencies like coins and paper money, and then begin to replace the tangible currencies with a digital currency, which is easy to, regulate and manipulate. And knowing that many people won't want to give up the control of tangible currencies, the government will need to make, the new digital currency more convenient and more available. And, as more and more people become, reliant on the convenience of digital dollars, the government can then begin to introduce the new digital system as they slowly phase out the antiquated tangible currencies. And with this plan in mind, well, it seems to me that we're entering into the phase where the government is now introducing the new system. And while it's completely voluntary at this point in time, well, it won't be long before our tangible currencies are no longer being accepted, as, something that is valuable. For example, listen, if you're currently headed to a national park this summer, then you need to take a credit card. And you need to take a credit card, and the reason why is because most of our national parks, which are run by the federal government, are no longer accepting U.S. currency. That's right. As of this past April, most of our national parks here in America are no longer accepting U.S. greenbacks. And while this was the first step in the launch of the FedNow program, there should be no doubt that this instant payment system will soon replace all tangible cash as the federal government continues to lead us towards a cashless society. We're simultaneously being prepped for this at many stores here in America as well. For example, it was just last week on July the 20th when Amazon announced that it's rolling out its Pay by Palm services to all 500 Whole Foods Market stores across the country. That's right. Shoppers can now register a palm print of their hand at Whole Foods, and after connecting your palm print to your digital wallet, customers can then use their palm for purchases rather than using a credit card or cash. Without debate, this sounds super convenient, and yet we already know how this all ends. It ends as governments around the world, prepare for the rise of the Antichrist, and the chances are this will include a global economy and more than likely implantable microchips, which will probably be promoted as a way to protect your digital dollars from the criminals who want to, learn how to hack the digital system. And not only that, but I also have no doubt that we're about to start seeing a push for parents to microchip their children, all in the name of safety. Without debate, child trafficking is a very real problem here in the world. And now that the movie Sound of Freedom has brought this to the attention of millions, well, you better believe that, the people who want to control us are going to start encouraging parents to protect their kids, with implantable microchips. For example, it was just last year when the World Economic Forum published an article written by Kathleen Phillips. And in this article, we find a list of arguments in favor of microchipping humans. And according to Phillips, parents ought to microchip their children for the sake of their safety. Here's how she put it by asking this, and I quote her, "Should you implant a tracking chip in your child, there are solid, rational reasons for it, like safety." That's right. The WEF now wants you to microchip your children, all in the name of safety. Never mind the fact that implantable microchips that have a wireless connection have vulnerabilities that can easily be hacked and exploited. Please trust me when I tell you that those who are playing on parental fears in order to convince us to go microchip our children, they're less concerned about child trafficking, and they're much more concerned about the complete control that they want over every person, including our kids. And in order to prove my point, let's just consider how long we've been waiting to find out who is on Jeffrey Epstein's flight log. And listen, we're still waiting. They're still hiding this information. And not only that, but what happened to the 85,000 illegal immigrant minors who, according to our Secretary of the HHS, Xavier Becerra, those 85,000 illegal immigrant minors are still unaccounted for after being sent to sponsor homes here in America. That's right. The Secretary of Health and Human Services here in our country has confessed that they've lost track of at least 85,000 illegal immigrant minors. And it was shortly thereafter when a whistleblower from the HHS also confessed this, and I quote her, "The U.S. government has become the middleman in a large-scale, multi-billion-dollar child trafficking operation that is run by bad actors seeking to profit off the lives of children." Wow. With this in mind, I can assure you that those who want to microchip your children are less concerned about the safety of your child, and they're more concerned about just complete control. Please trust me when I tell you that the devil and his demons are preparing the planet for complete control over the masses. And with this as the goal, they're going to be creating multifaceted reasons in order to convince us that we need to receive their implantable chips. We need to receive their mark of the beast eventually. And some are going to be convinced by the convenience of a digital currency. That's going to be the argument that convinces many. Others are going to be driven by fear as they get ready to microchip their children, or there's going to be the argument from the health benefits of having a chip that tells you when you need your next vaccine and these sorts of things. But regardless of the multifaceted reasons for why people are going to be driven towards receiving these microchips, at the end of the day, people are simply being primed to embrace the global government, which will eventually be ruled by the Antichrist. With that being the case, I encourage you to remember that those who truly trust in Jesus are going to be spared from the wrath that's to come. And I like the way that the Lord put it in Luke chapter 21. It's there where he declares, "Take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and cares of this life, and that day come on you unexpectedly. For it will come as a snare on those who dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch therefore and pray always, that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man." Listen, rather than living this day for the lusts of the flesh so that we might fit in with this fallen world, let's instead walk by faith with the Lord Jesus Christ. And as we walk by faith with Jesus, he will enable us to escape all these things that will eventually come to pass during the time of tribulation, which is soon going to come upon this planet. With this as the goal, I encourage you, let's make sure that we're living our lives for the glory of the Lord Jesus. And as we do, he will help us to fight the good fight of faith, and all for the glory of God.